Shut up and sit down.
Boom. What's happening, Trinity? How are you?
Another day, man. Another day.
Exactly. Welcome, everybody. This is the Couch Live. Well, it's the Couch Live edition of Dope and Dharma is what it is here. Live for you here on Facebook Live. And, of course, we're on WOKB 1680 and 100.7 FM in the Orlando, Florida area, if you're in that area. If not, you're watching it probably via YouTube. You're watching it Facebook Live. Trinity, how else are they probably?
You just pretty much said them all, other than any of your major podcasting platforms. Okay. And Twitch. I don't know if you mentioned Twitch or not, but
I did not.
Well, then there you go. That's what I'm here for.
Oh, there you go. I'm twitching a little bit.
I have fulfilled my role.
Because I have yet to ever go to Twitch. I don't have the app, or I'm assuming it's an app, right? It's an app.
It's a platform. It's mostly gaming, but people do shows and stuff on there as well. So
yeah, I'm kind of shocked. I've yet to even get curious enough to, I guess, download it, check it out. But
you're an elitist, so I get it.
Is that what it is? So it is, or just old?
A little bit both.
That's what you really want to say, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, this is the Couch Live. Been on since 1999, people. So it's been quite a while, quite a lot of days we've been on and doing this, and it's been fun. I've been on all different kinds of platforms, I guess. I
right. What a transition if you think about that, right? Like started out on like local like TV / radio,
right?
Then it moved to internet radio, and then moved to a different studio, internet radio. Yeah. Now, like it's just it's interesting the evolution of it all.
Would have never guessed it. I would have never known that the internet portion of this whole deal would have been bigger than radio. Yeah. I would have never guessed that.
Speaking of that, I don't remember the last time I listened to a radio. Like I don't even remember.
Like, for real? Like in your car, you don't listen to radio?
No, I listen to iTunes on my phone.
So all you WOKBers just know I listen. WOKB 1680 AM. Then maybe even sometimes 100.7 FM.
Yeah. Well, apparently I'm not their demographic then.
Yeah, because you're not listening.
No, I don't even, like I said, I don't remember the last time I even turned the radio on. Like I don't even think I have a radio in my home, which is weird, right? Because like as a kid, that was like the big deal was to have that boombox thing next to your, the 3-piece thing. Like I fought so hard to get, and now I don't even think I have a way to listen to the radio in my home.
That's interesting right there. That's real interesting. Well, I do, and all the time. So
when was the last time you listened to a CD?
Oh, now that's different. I don't remember that.
Same. I don't even like.
Probably when I had a record label and we actually printed them. Probably back then.
Yeah, I don't remember the last time let alone purchased a CD. I don't remember the last time I actually had like, oh man, a CD I want to listen to and put it into my. Like I don't remember. It was years easily.
Yeah, you know what I like about that is that you don't have to take them with you. There's no clutter in the car of tapes or CDs and
yeah.
But whatever. Anyway, it's a great weekend. Recovery month is just about over. Trinity, recovery month has been happening all month. Don't want to exclude Hispanic Heritage Month, or as some people like to say, Latino Heritage Month. Either way, you got to say it. For some reason,
isn't it October?
It's mid-September to mid-October.
So y'all didn't get your own month. You have to share months?
Yeah, we can't even get our own month, apparently.
Wow.
I told you, Latinos are the number one disrespected minority out there, despite what everybody thinks.
Are you serious? I thought it was all of October. I didn't realize it was half of.
No,
wow.
we don't even get a specific month.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Not only are we never represented on television, we have to have our own television stations, have to have our own radio stations. We have to speak Spanish in order to get attention. People act like they don't want us here, but they don't want to do our jobs. Are you playing the violin? Is that what you're doing?
Just chilling. I'm just listening.
I'm just saying it for the people of radio. They don't see you on radio, right?
Yes.
So the radio people didn't notice that
I was playing you a sad song, man.
Mr. Irishman is Viking, the Irish Viking.
I have no Irish in me, which is weird.
Yeah, what are you then? You did the 23andMe. What are you?
Yeah, it's mostly like northwestern European, which is like all the Scandinavian and Viking countries.
You can't be more specific. You got to talk to us like I got to know what Scandinavian is.
It's a bunch of them. It's like that whole section.
Sixth grade. I got to go back to 6th grade. a country, darn it.
Well, there's Norway. There's what else is up there?
Sweden.
Denmark, Sweden. Like basically Europe, Northwest. All that general area up there. That's where my I have zero like African in me, which is weird because you got like what 4%.
I got 6%, 6% African, 6% West African.
Yeah. The funny part though about that whole thing, and I'm probably gonna get in trouble for mentioning this.
Right.
My whole life.
Oh, here goes your mom. You're gonna upset your mom. I know you're gonna upset your mom. Go for it.
I probably
tell her.
shouldn't.
I know what you're gonna say. No, I know what you're gonna say.
My whole life, my mother has bragged about, talked about, and just included in numerous conversations of our Indian heritage. And then when 23andMe came out, we have exactly zero Indian heritage.
Zero.
Now, it can be argued, and it has been, that those things are inaccurate when it comes to Native American because it's hard to track the blood.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know if I'd agree with that. When I looked it up, actually, there was because
yeah, you know who's saying it's inaccurate? A bunch of white people that thought they were Indian.
Yeah, well, doesn't everybody think they have Indian in it though? Even black people. Like
I didn't. I actually didn't. I didn't think I did. And and my wife is the same. I did marry. For all intents and purposes, I married a white woman too, and she also thought she was part Native American.
Everybody does.
Yeah, like all white people do. And then I get mine thinking I have zero Native American. Right? I thought I was going to see what 90%, Latino and Italian.
But you're from Mexico. There's a party that's from Mexico, so I would assume was it the Mayans?
But look at us though. We're very light skinned. We're very European looking. Right?
That's racist.
Yeah, I am. But yet 14% Native American.
Holy crap, 14%?
Yeah,
that high.
I'm
Wow.
14% Native American and 6% African. So clearly I'm 20% of somebody better pay me some money. Dude,
Right.
let me have at least a craps table or something.
Right.
You know what I mean? I need a slot machine.
I can't believe it's that high.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, 20% total.
Wow.
If you mix those two up together. The rest is all, exactly where I thought.
Yeah,
the Mediterranean.
everything.
I'm all Spanish. No, it's all Spanish, and
Right on.
that I can't say Italian, Corsica, which we knew, Sicily, which we knew, those areas. That's it.
Right.
Yeah,
Sure.
we knew that. But yeah, apparently we came direct, and then we came to say, I'm a little lonely. You want to, do a little something, and
Right.
that's what happened. So anyway, but anyway, recovery month, and it's been good, man. I was busy all weekend. You got out of it, Trinity. You've been getting out of these recovery months.
I have.
This whole month has been
100%
busy.
didn't even know we had just had one.
So we did the recovery walk at Lake Eola this past weekend. Thank you very much, everybody, for coming up. Judge Lattimore came out, and Judge Lattimore is amazing. I love Judge Lattimore for who she is as a judge. I know there's at least one person out there going, Judge, did you just say you love a judge? I'm gonna say, yeah, because it's a very difficult position. You're in a position to pass judgment. I mean, it's in the name, right?
Yeah.
So Trinity, when we're in a time in a world where it's like you're not supposed to pass judgment. No, we have a job position on earth that their whole entire duty is to pass judgment based on the facts that get presented, right? And I know that many of us have forgotten that we're innocent until proven guilty. I know that many of us have forgotten that, right?
Yeah.
I think it's very common nowadays for if someone on the other side of you gets in trouble, you automatically assume guilt. But when it's someone on your side, you want innocent until proven guilty. All of a sudden, yeah. We're so biased when it comes to that, and I mean, our hypocrisy is ridiculous when it comes to that.
Well, that's why we don't rule based upon the court of public opinion,
right?
Right.
The public is so hypocritical, and at least I admit, stand up and says, I know I'm hypocritical. I know that if I see something and hear something a certain way, I do initially rush to a type of judgment, and at least it does play it plays a role in what I think in the end.
Sure.
But it doesn't mean that, but I try to stay objective to say, okay, but what other facts may exist that I don't see prior to the video starting, prior to when people started talking, prior to whatever the media spin is saying, or prior to whatever the emotions of the day are, because our emotions play a great deal. What I like about this particular judge, and many of them, it's a judge that is working in the problem courts, in the problem solving courts. So you're talking about veterans, you're talking about the drug court system. You're talking about people that need a second chance or need additional understanding or maybe some help so that they don't get stuck in the system. And as we all know, drugs and alcohol can get you stuck in a system that you can never get out of.
Yeah.
You know, traditionally, I mean, look, if you look like when I was a kid, like judges used to get, this is what judges did for drug and alcohol problems when I was a kid. You ready to strap on and go into the army? Because if you go in the army, I can let you off right now.
Wow.
It was that kind of deal. That's how deals got made back in the 70s, right? Then as the 80s came in, they didn't need you no more, really. You know, we were farther removed from Vietnam, so they were thinking, I guess we're not going to really need everybody like we have. So that deal's gone. Now you just go to jail. You know, and then you know, drug courts came out in the 2000s areas, and they've become more popular. We've had so many great successes with it that it's great to have Orange County, Judge Lattimore in Orange County doing a great job in the drug court system. So thank you very much for her for coming out. You're speaking to a lot of the attendees, and there was a lot of attendees at Lake Eola. Now some of you were at Lake Eola for another thing, and I didn't tell you about this, Trinity, so you're going to get a laugh at this.
Uh-oh.
So we're on one side of the lake at the band show, right? On the exact other side of the lake, what event do you think was happening on that side of the lake?
The most ironic thing would be something involving alcohol.
Close.
That would be.
It was a cannabis kind of a cannabis festival.
That's awesome.
So
That's
we're on
awesome.
one side of Lake. We're on one side of Lake Eola, celebrating recovery. I'm with the All Good Brothers, by the way, who right here on WOKB AM, right? The All Goods, All Good Entertainment was in the house. They were playing the music. They're with us on stage as always. And on our side, you know, we're talking recovery. We're talking about changing your life. We're talking about, you know, living life on life's terms, and you know, we could do the right thing, and we could be good, productive citizens. And then on the other side, there's people just waiting for the cannabis convention to start.
And this was our walk run, right, where they actually had to go and walk through.
Yeah. So what I said is, when you start walking, so I'm on the stage, right, and I'm saying, when you go, please make it back.
How many of them came back with little pamphlets?
I saw none of. I was expecting at least 10 people not to return. I was expecting at least 10 people to get diverted, right? But then what I was also expecting is that people would be sitting in our audience thinking that we're their event, and it'll take. How long do you think it'll take somebody stone out of their mind to realize, wait a minute, this isn't the right convention? Wait a minute, man. Yeah, they were clapping, enjoying the music. All Good Entertainment is playing. They were all enjoying it. And then they realized, wait a minute, man. It smells different on this side of the lake. You know, it's just a whole different vibe. But anyway,
I kind of like the symbolism of that, if I'm honest.
Hey, man, I'm okay with it.
Yeah,
I'm okay. With
it kind of falls in line with what we're talking about today about recovery and stuff, right? Like,
yeah,
because I think, and I'm kind of guilty of it to an extent, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Mine's more personal than it is, but like, I think there's this notion on either side of the aisle when it comes to recovery, right? That there's people that either think that if they're in recovery, then the rest of the world should kind of bend the knee, right? And like take away any temptations and kind of accommodate that. And then there's the other part where a lot of people feel like, hey, you know what? Let me not participate in certain things to remove temptation. Like, let me be, you know, whatever. And that's the part I'm guilty of, right? Like, that's part of the reason why I stopped drinking in the first place, was hanging around so many people in recovery. I just felt kind of weird. And then, and then it just kind of became a thing, right? Where now I'm actually kind of proud. It's been, I don't even know, man. It's 5, 6, 7 years. I don't even know how long it's been.
Wow, I got to get you a medallion.
Right. Yeah. But I don't know my date, right? I just know it was a long time ago.
Right.
But regardless, so to me, I think that's ironic because it kind of shows that, you know, on one half you have people who are using a substance that some people just can't use while others can. And then on the other half of it, you got people who are trying to step away from substances and change their lives. And they're all kind of harmoniously, you know, utilizing the same facilities at the same time, and everything's cool. So it's like, you know, it's just a weird microcosm, right, of how recovery is everywhere around you, and like it's possible, and kind of just it's happening, which is cool.
You know, and you know what? I was sober before sober was cool. You know, because at one time it wasn't, right? At one time we wouldn't hear about it. Everybody was anonymous.
Yeah.
You know, and then, you know, I love giving credit to the LGBTQ community that kind of made coming out okay. And so I say we as recovering addicts needed to come out. We need to not live in a closet. Forget your gender stuff living in the closet, man. I think we needed to there's more of us. And we were all in the closet. There's millions and millions and millions of us. And we come in all shapes, sizes, all colors, all creeds, all races. We're not bound by skin color. We're not bound by religion. We're not bound by gender. We come in every form, rich, poor, whatever. And yet we were all living in the closet. And so the beautiful thing about where we're at today in recovery is that if you want to be anonymous for your particular program, that's fine. But for many of us, we love to recover out loud, and that's fine too. And if you want to recover out loud and let people know, look, you don't just have to talk about me when I'm getting arrested. You don't have to just talk about me when I'm doing foolishness. You could talk about me when I'm being celebrated for being a good dad, a good mother, a good member of society, a contributor to society that for some reason in today's world, we seem to bash contributors of society. I don't get it yet, but we seem to get a lot of bashing of people that contribute to society just for thinking differently. But all contributors should be, applauded.
Well, the anonymity, I think, is interesting, right? Because I wish I could say after all these years that we've been doing this, that I get it and I'm cool with it, but I'm still not. Like, I think the anonymity hurts the movement, helps the individual, right? I think as a movement, I think you guys struggle with anonymity because more people aren't out there professing it.
Right.
But it helps the individual because there is still stigma attached to where if you do come out, then you very well could be treated differently, which even in and of itself, I think is awfully kind of weird, right? Like if you think about in today's society, it's like the opposite, right? Like if I remember back in the day that there were politicians who were very, very anti-LGBT gay community.
Right.
And then somebody within their family came out as gay. Next thing you know, they get it and they start changing their votes and their patterns and they're all okay with it because they had somebody in their life that they experienced it. To whereas with drugs and alcohol, now this is anecdotal, but it appears on face value to be the exact opposite. Right. You're like very pro anybody who has a substance issue and you're fighting for them and you think, hey, they have a substance issue. You need to, pay attention to that. Unless it happens to you and your family, then all of a sudden you're very angry and very anti, that's not an excuse. It's like a weird dynamic with all that.
Yeah. It can go in so many, there's no one way to paint it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of people out there listening right now that, they've been hurt by somebody that suffered from a substance use disorder. Right. So for them, they feel like, I don't care if the person gets clean, sober, or whatever. I'm never forgiving that person. Yeah. That person hurt me. And you have a right to feel whatever way you want to feel. I can't tell you how to feel towards that person. That if that person abused you, hurt you, changed the course of your life, you have a right to feel like that. However, what we like to talk about is two things. Number one, that person can still recover. They may not be a person for you in your life in the future, but they can be somebody for someone else and in their future, a whole different world for them. Number two, forgiveness helps you. Your anger doesn't. Now, you could take that same frustration and learn how to maybe navigate a little bit differently, trust a little bit differently. But for some of you, you took it too far. You've taken it to never trusting people ever again. You took it to anyone that looks, sounds, smells, anything like that person. You just have this utter hate. And that's the kind of stuff that we as humans, we get in trouble as a population when we generalize, when we overgeneralize. And it's weird, right? Because when we're on one side of the generalization, we say, you shouldn't judge me because of that. You should never judge me because of my skin color, my religion, my race, my gender. Blah, blah. But then when it comes to someone else on the other side, again, the hypocrisy.
Like I said, it's always fun if you win a team.
We judge you because your skin color, because your race, because your religion, because your height, because your weight, whatever. We're human hypocrites.
Yep.
And I have say, it's okay, but let's acknowledge it.
Yeah.
So what hurts mental health issues, including substance use disorders, is there's a lot of stigma attached to it. And let me tell you something. You may understand how you feel about it, but it doesn't mean you understand it. And you may have it, and you may still not understand it, right? Like,
Yep.
I drive a car every day, and yet I can't fix it. So I only understand certain aspects of the vehicle. And my vehicle actually has gauges that try to educate me. I just, whatever. It has warning signs. Whatever. Right?
Right.
It's got little quirks to it that it tries to tell me, hey, and I still go, yeah, whatever. Like I had a low air in one of my tires, and I made the vehicle wait until it was convenient for me.
You're in Florida,
fill
you're
it
always
up.
going to have that.
I'm just saying, car, I appreciate you telling me that one of your tires are low, but you're going to have to wait till it's convenient for me. Now, if we do that for a vehicle, Trinity,
Oh, yeah.
if we do that for our home, what do you think you actually do to your own body and brain where you don't even have gauges? There's no gauge. I don't have a gauge.
Metaphorically speaking.
Nobody's walking around with a personal gauge.
Yeah.
We've had to invent all kinds of machinery to try to tell us something. Yet still, we don't know. Like, could you tell me right now, without the use of a machine, what your current body temperature is precisely?
Hot?
No, you could give a good guess.
I'm hot.
Blood pressure.
Yeah.
But then get even deeper, because we can create machines for that are pretty quick, but we think they're correct. We don't know, right? But what is your platelet count right now, Trinity? What is your white blood cell? Now try to get deeper and deeper and deeper. Not to go to your brain cells and say, at this moment, what is the exact count of how many brain cells are actually firing when you think about this certain process? And really?
12.
Yeah, exactly. Me, much less. But we're on autopilot. So the little bit that we can control is what we celebrate in recovery. That little bit that we can't do something about. See, I can't tell you how once I put something in my system, how my system is going to take that and use it. Now, some of you may think you're in control of how your system processes chemistry, but you're not. I know so many of you that aren't alcoholics and drug addicts, you go, I would never let myself get out of control like that. I like to control things. I wouldn't take things that take me out of control. No, you've tried all these things that drug addicts tried. You've tried all the things alcoholics haven't tried, but your system processed it differently. And another thing that may have occurred, it probably didn't open up a Pandora's box in you of trauma that you may have. If you do have trauma and didn't become a drug addict or alcoholic, you processed this trauma very differently than somebody else. And you didn't have 100% control over how you did that. You think you did, but you don't. And the same thing with chemistry. I can eat potato chips, but I can't tell the potato chip where to go. Because if I could, I would tell the potato chips, look, you can come in, but I need you to vacate the premises in the morning. Can we agree that you 100% vacate the premises in the morning? Because I can't let you stick around. If you stick around, I'm going to get, too chubby in certain areas, and I don't want that. I can't do that. I have no control over that. All I have control of is putting that potato chip in my system with the knowledge that once I put it in my system, it's 100% up to an entire process that I have no ability to control. It's out of my control at that point. So take that into account, everybody. Once you drink alcohol, it's up to your body how to process that alcohol, not you. Once you put any drug in your system, any chemical in your system, it's up to your system how to control that, not you. And it's up to us to be very honest with ourselves in relation to what's truly happening. And that's where we get into problems, Trinity, because I've already started the show with saying we're hypocrites. Right? There's always somebody worse than you, right?
Sure.
Always.
Of course.
Right? There's always somebody meaner than you. There's always somebody nicer than you, better looking than you, taller than you, fatter than you, skinnier than you, anything than you. You're not the one of anything. And
There's
yet,
nobody more me than me.
I don't know about that.
Just try to be contrarian.
That's a good hypothesis, but
Sure.
I think right now there's an alien somewhere saying he doesn't know.
Right. Body snatch.
He doesn't know.
The real me is up in a spaceship somewhere.
Yeah. We have him in the purest form. He's already altered that one. We have that exact genetic composition ready to go again, like in another year. He's not due to be born in another year, but we'll see how it goes then. But he can think whatever he wants.
Well, see, talking about recovery month, right? Like,
Yeah.
not to switch gears, I guess, but there's certain things that come into my head that I wanted to say. So
Okay.
we'll transition to that however we can. But
Transition.
um, the thing for me with recovery that I find puzzling is a couple of things. Number one is this notion that people aren't like super proud of it as they should be, right? The anonymity thing. That's what bothers me. Is like
Mm.
somebody beats cancer, they can't wait to tell the world, right? And oh, I'm gonna piss some people off. You didn't beat cancer, right? Like your doctors came up with a good plan to like take medication and go do chemo. Now, granted, you went through it and everything else, and I commend anybody to do that. But like it was very passive, right? You kind of just followed the directions. To whereas with addiction, you kind of have to beat that, right? Like you have to like actively make decisions on a daily basis to avoid things that are going to be detrimental to your life. So you, in theory, you beat that. Now, granted, you had a team of people around you supporting you and giving you a path to get there,
Mm.
but you had to walk that path every single day. And I think that that's something to be proud of. Like,
Right.
heck yeah, man! That when you see people in the depths of addiction and how low it can go, to then see where they're
Right.
like, whoa,
Yeah.
like wow, that's something you should be proud of, right? um and then the second thing that comes to my mind, and this is just once again anecdotal, maybe I've been blessed to be around some really good people, I guess,
Mhm.
but I've noticed in my own life, and this is going to sound so weird for those of you who don't interact in this circle, some of the most well-adjusted healthy people I meet are in recovery.
Mm.
Right? Like I meet people who look down on addicts and make fun of them or talk trash about them or whatever. But when you take a deep dive into their own life, there's so many things about them that are sabotaging every relationship and their own life. Just you really need help, dude. Like you have not recovered from your trauma and you're screwing your life up. But yet they're judging this other person who has a history of drug abuse or alcohol. And granted, they might have done some terrible things, but when you look at them now, and I don't mean just sober, I mean recovery, right? Like I don't mean just abstaining and not doing it. I mean
Uh,
recovery, doing the work and kind of healing yourself, right? Those individuals, when I talk to them, I'm so impressed. Like some of the people I admire the most are in recovery. And I don't admire them necessarily just because they're in recovery,
mm.
but the byproduct of that, meaning the brutal honesty they have, the how self-aware they are, how humble they can be. Like it's just impressive, right? And so it's like I've said this before and I'll say it again. I really think like everybody should go through the steps, man. Like I don't think it should be just an addiction type thing, because I just see the after effect when they come out, and it's
Right.
just like if you do it right, you know what I mean. Obviously, once again, this is anecdotal. I'm sure there's people who've gone through it and didn't, but the ones I've seen and interacted with, when they come out the other side, wow, like stellar human beings, man. Like you've been through struggle, you've come through it, you've persevered, you were so self-aware, so humble, so wise, and so giving to those around you, just like just a genuinely good person to be around. And then you look at the other side, the people who haven't gone through all that, who haven't recovered from their trauma, haven't gone to therapy, haven't looked into things. They're not exactly as fun to be with sometimes, you know. And then when you are around them, it's just like, dude, you don't really treat people around you well. Like you need to be knocked down a little bit sometimes. And so it's just,
Mhm.
I don't know. Those are the things that pop in my mind when I think of recovery. And I was very specific when I said not just sobriety, but recovery,
Right. Right.
because
Right. Right.
I think there's a misnomer that just because somebody stops using, which I think is commendable and I would recommend, you're not done, right? Like
Mm.
when you're the sober part is great, but all the sobriety does is enable you to then take advantage of the tools to go into recovery.
Yes, sir.
And recovery would be actually, hey, why did I want to start using in the first place? You know, like what
Mhm.
was I feeling? What, like addressing all those, you know, things, all that scar tissue that has been
Right.
lingering around to help you stay sober. That's the recovery part. And I think that's the part I'm most impressed with. Like I look at not only yourself, but some of the other people I've had the fortune of meeting within
Mhm.
this community, you know,
Mhm.
and just got so many people. Like when I think of like the top 10 people that I know that I would rate as far as like morals and just good human beings that I would be proud to know, almost all of them are in recovery.
Right on.
Like, and I think
That
that's
says a lot
commendable.
coming where you came from when I first met you.
Yes,
Not
yes, it
not that
does.
you were hateful, but I remember you being open and honest about
Yeah.
your thoughts and feelings.
Yeah, well, I got all my I got all my impressions of
Right.
what it means to be an addict from
From
80s
addicts.
and
Using.
80s and well 80s and 90s TV, movie, news. Let's just say it's not good, right? Like they're not, and not only that, and the reason why I only got it
Yeah.
from those is because that's the only ones I had access to. There
Yeah.
wasn't a lot of people
Yeah.
talking about, hey, I've been in recovery for X amount of years. Right? The only time I heard of addiction was when somebody was getting arrested, when somebody's hurting somebody else. When you're trying to avoid injury or harm because that person is this. Like it was
Yeah.
nothing good at all, and I was never, made aware of the massive amounts of people that are not only in recovering but excelling, right? Because this isn't a new thing. This isn't like
Right.
a 2023 thing. People have been going through recovery and changing the world for decades.
Oh yeah.
And I just never, it wasn't talked about. Like I didn't really interact with that. And so, yeah, I mean, and no, I didn't have a great idea of it when I was younger.
You're so right, because I remember growing up and I was such a stoner and such a drug user that I remember it felt cool to know of all the famous people that were either stoners or drug users.
Yeah.
It was cool to talk about the Edgar Allan Poes and all that. That dude does cocaine, that dude did this, and like we were talking about, and Dr. Dre, very intelligent person,
Sure.
knew I'm gonna put a pot leaf on this album and I'm gonna sell millions. He
One
knew
of the
exactly
best
what it
rap
was.
albums, by the way.
Yeah, one of the least smokers out there compared to how many people were smokers out there. And he goes and puts it together and throws it out there, and you saw
his partner made up for it though.
yes, he did. He still does. Well, that's a great example. Snoop, when Snoop quit smoking pot for a while, what happened to his ratings and everything?
His music didn't
It went down complete.
Like
It went down.
or something?
It went down to nothing, man. I mean, he went back to smoking so quick. I think Martha Stewart came out and says, "Brother, you better pick that stuff up back again. You better not drop it."
It's a weird pairing too.
You are what you are, Snoop. Pick it up.
Yeah.
He was not allowed to quit. The moment he tried to quit, he saw nobody cares about you, Snoop, unless you're smoking. So, things like that. I mean, Cheech and Chong is another good thing. Like Chong got all the attention afterwards. Cheech, as soon as Cheech came out and says, I really don't smoke, I don't do any of that stuff. Cheech, his career stayed stagnant.
Well,
Chong, on the other hand, by being what he is, stayed a stoner, stayed acting like a stoner, selling bongs, just that image.
Yeah. Well, Cheech went into movies and stuff, or other movies other than stoner movies.
Never the same. It was almost like Cheech went through the Henry Winkler stuff. It's like,
yes,
Henry. As soon as we found out Henry Winkler, that's what you really talk like. It was like, you're not the Fonz. Oh no, I never want to see you again. Don't even come on TV, bro.
I will never see Cheech other than Cheech and Chong ever. If I even hear the word Cheech, it's
can't
just
do it.
Nope.
No, we only want to see him as Cheech. Dude, I never want to see Henry Winkler not play the Fonz. I hate when Henry Winkler plays that real soft guy that he kind of is. Hi, that real meek. Dude, you're the Fonz, bro. Do never talk like that. I don't care if it's a fake it. Fake it till you make it. Fake it.
I will never see Cheech without picturing him in the van that's smoking as they're driving down the road.
Oh, bro.
Was that Up in Smoke, I think?
They were so good.
I wasn't even a stoner, but I thought those movies were hilarious, man.
I was, and I loved it.
Well, and that's, what, that kind of feeds into the problem, if I'm honest, right? Like, psychologically speaking, right? Or metaphorically speaking,
right.
I have at least 5 or 6 movies that I can think of where they glamorized and glorified drinking and drug use.
Of course they did.
Or they made it look absolutely terrible, right?
Right.
I can't think of any movie or show right now where they glorified recovery. I can't think. I'm not saying there isn't one. I'm just saying it's not so relevant that it immediately pops to my mind.
It's so bad. It's so bad that even that one show where that dude walks with a cane, that dude that's a doctor walks with a cane.
House MD, love that show.
He's like an active addiction at the time.
Yeah,
and they glorify him like that. That is what we do. We do glorify that stuff way so much.
Yeah,
and what I want to remind you all is that while you're glorifying and go like, yeah, I can rate, and we're laughing about it, and it's entertaining because it is, but it's entertaining like a wreck is entertaining. It's good until you're in it.
Yeah,
it's entertaining like a fight is entertaining. Like we all watch fights, at least I do. On social media until you're in it, until you're the one getting stomped. It's great and funny until it's your grandmother that just got punched by somebody that was walking by. So you could say whatever you want to say when you're not the victim of it.
That's why I think
there's people out there suffering. Yeah, there's people out there suffering.
That's why I think the Truth campaign was so effective. It's because like they were bringing truth to like, hey, yeah, I know they
Yeah.
keep showing people in movies smoking and how cool they are. Okay, that may or may not be true in your life.
Right.
But this is also true. And they started showing like, hey, wait a minute, you get cancer and you lose your,
Right.
you lose your jaws and all sorts of
Right.
stuff. And so like I think we're missing that when it comes to
Right.
recovery. Like we're missing this this beacon of recovery.
Right.
This like, hey, recovery's cool kind of a thing. I mean, I know we have some rock stars
Right.
who kind of try to go out there, but like sadly, by the time they figure that out, they're kind of not really in the mainstream anymore. Which good for them, they recovered, but they're not really quote unquote cool anymore. Like we need young blood. We need somebody out there who is in the prime, right? Like I swear, Tebow should have been that dude, even though technically speaking he wasn't in recovery, but he was as close as we got as like a good, wholesome person who was popular and everything else. We're missing the recovery version of that, right? The guy that's in recovery or the girl that's in recovery that promotes it, talks about it, and makes it look good.
We got some, and then they do something stupid or something stupid from their past comes up, like Russell Brand. Thank you very much, brother. I hope you're innocent, but innocent until proven guilty. We shall see. But oh my God,
even the stuff that he admitted to that just doesn't look good, right? It might not be illegal, but it doesn't look good.
So let me go here because I think, and I know we have to kind of end it. Stuff I gotta go see, but. Tell me what you think about this. We can actually reward everyone, not just those in recovery. We can reward everyone for living a clean lifestyle. We have full capability of drug testing, right?
Sure.
So we could mandatory, and the reason we can do it mandatory is because you can choose not to work. You can choose to be unemployed. We could mandatory drug test every single working individual in the United States and reward them with a weekly bonus for every every negative drug test. We could do that.
Would that be constitutional?
No. Because it's voluntary. You go be an entrepreneur. You can do whatever you want to do. But if you work anywhere that receives federal money, if you work with anyone that receives state money, then you will be subject to mandatory drug testing weekly. But the positive is this: it's voluntary, and you'll get a bonus every week. If you receive any state or federal money, every week you have to pass drug tests, or else you can't receive that money. People look at this like that would be unconstitutional, like you just said, right?
I like what you just said as far as voluntary.
But the issue is this: we have to stop enabling the problem. Yeah. And it's not for those of you that can do it okay. It's for all the ones that cannot, because the ones that cannot affect a lot more people in a very negative and harmful way than all of you that can do it okay affect people in a positive way. Let me say that again, just in case you couldn't follow. For every person that is out of control due to a substance use disorder, they affect many more people in a negative way than any one of you that is using it in a social, okay way affects people in a positive way. Therefore, we should approach it in a very drastic way to try to not enable those that do have jobs, that are getting federal funding, because it's costing all of us millions of dollars. And you could help save an addict's life by forcing them to weekly do something they wouldn't normally do, because that's what the disease is doing. The disease is forcing them to do things they don't want to do. The disease is forcing them to behave in ways they don't want to behave. The disease is forcing them to create actions that they don't want to create. So they're already being forced. So for that same person to then voluntarily work in a system that pays them some money and they therefore get bonuses weekly for not doing it is a lot better of an idea than the other idea we heard some people say before, that they said, remember this idea was thrown out there: why don't we pay criminals for not committing crime? I think that's a stupid idea.
Yeah, no,
and I think there's a lot of ideas out there that are stupid ideas, but I would love to reward every single high school student, every single middle school student. Every week you're clean, we give you money. Every single week you're clean, we give you a reward. Every clean person, not just some, not just addicts, not just every person. If we do that up until a certain age, then we get past the age of pain. You understand? There's a drastic thing that we could do right there, and I think that would be effective.
the more you talk about that, the more I actually like that, right? Because it goes into the whole thing we know about punishment and accolades and stuff, right?
Right.
Positive reinforcement,
Right.
because they already have stuff to where if you fail the drug test, you get fired or whatever. Like they already
Right.
kind of have that,
Yeah.
and it's not much
We
of a
just don't
deterrent.
enforce that stuff.
But what I like the idea of like an employee rewards program, like you know,
Yeah.
you don't have to participate, but if you do and you come out clean, then we're going to reward you with
Your money.
X, Y, and Z. I kind of actually like that. Matter of fact, my first thought was trying to figure out a way of doing it here in my house with my kids, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like as they start to get older, be like, look, man, I trust you, but you know, every week that I give you something, you know, I don't know. I like the idea of that. It sounds very, I like it.
Thank you, sir.
Well, because the younger generations, especially,
Right.
they all think it's cool. They all
Yeah.
think vaping's cool. They all
That's why
think
you gotta reward 'em.
weed's cool. Yeah.
Start rewarding them now. Start
Yeah.
rewarding them for doing the right thing right now. Instead of it, see, we're always just like, it's an expectation, right? And then the bad thing is that so many of our role models, like the top of the food chain, they're all doing it so much that they're making our young kids be okay with it. But that's top of the food chain. They can do it, and it doesn't affect them that way. But it does affect some of your kids that way. Like, just because somebody that's the Michael Jordan of their sport can smoke pot and still be a professional athlete doesn't mean your child can smoke pot and even get out of dang high school.
Yeah.
Some of your kids can't even get out of high school, but when you talk to them about it, they want to go, yeah, but that dude does it. Yeah, but that dude, he's already an attorney. Or that dude's already an athlete, star athlete. You're not. That's not who you are.
Yeah.
You're already not even expected to even go to college, and then you're going to put yourself backwards and give yourself a harder chance at succeeding in a very tough environment. This is a dog-eat-dog world. I don't care who's running it.
Yeah.
Don't you think just because you ain't running it, it ain't dog-eat-dog. Look around your own neighborhood. Don't tell me your neighborhood ain't dog-eat-dog already. So if your neighborhood is dog-eat-dog, just imagine if you tried to go to someone else's neighborhood. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Your own household may be dog-eat-dog. Try telling your parent what to do before you go out there and try to tell a neighbor what to do, or someone in the other side of the street or the tracks try to tell them what to do. You can't even control your own environment. We all need to step up, but we got to do it in a drastic way, and we all got to support it. But most of all of you in recovery, thank you very much for doing what you do. I appreciate you, because what you do is you help inspire someone who's out there that wants to be a mom to her kids. She just doesn't think she can. She wants to be. She didn't mean to leave her kids in the car when she went into the dope man's house. But that drug was calling her hardcore heavy, and many of you don't even understand what that sounds like, what that feels like. I want to put my arms around her. I want to hug her and say, look, I don't agree with you today, and I won't be okay with your behavior today. But I will love you through it if you want to come out the other side. I know how many lives you can save on the other side. 833 Now Matters if you want to be part of that. 833 Now Matters. Call the Now Matters More Foundation. Get some help today. All right. All right, Trinity, close us out because we got to go.
No, I think that we just hit it on the head, man. Recovery is possible, and it's cooler to be a good person than it is to be a high person.
Amen to that. All right, take it away, Shaw. Let the All Good Brothers come in, do their music deal. I saw them at Recovery Month. They were at the band shell, Trinity. They were doing their music, man. I love All Good Entertainment, and so they're coming on right after us. From all of us here on the Couch Live, adios, amigos. It's time for a taco. Goodbye.